Hi, good morning. This is Corey with Simple Urban Homestead, and I have another video today about a plant that I like to use for healing properties, medicinal properties in the family. So it is about mullein. I'm not sure if you've heard about mullein. It's probably not as common that I hear people talk about in medicinal plants, but it is a really important one to have. And especially with all the flu season and viruses that go on, whether you have COVID or something else that affects your lungs, I really recommend it. So mullein leaf, here, this is the mullein tea that I buy. Mullein, and actually I have it right here as a drink. But mullein can be taken orally or topically for different reasons. So it's one that can be used both. If you use it in a tea, you would use 1 or 2 teaspoons worth and have it steep for at least 10 to 15 minutes as hot at a close to boiling as you can keep it, right? Whether you have a lid on a cup, if you're doing individual. I have an electric teapot because it's not just for me, it's for everyone in the family. So we use mullein specifically in my family. The number one reason we use it is for respiratory infections, okay? Colds, the flu, it helps with bronchitis, sore throats, asthma-related conditions, anything that involves the respiratory tract and lungs. This is super awesome, okay? Because it fights both bacterial and viral infections, which is huge. You get a lot of medications from the doctor and they're like, oh, sorry, you got this. There's nothing we can do for you. Just wait it out. And you're like, really? That's all you have for me? So I really like the mullein because it has been proven to work, and that's why I'm talking about it. It isn't just a plant that I've just thought it was cool to show you. This is one that we have real life experiences in my house with the benefits. So, and the reason I have it is because I'm doing this for preventative, but our family again has another respiratory infection. And they don't know what it is, but it was pretty severe. Both my kids have asthma, and there's nothing they could do for them besides taking their inhaler treatments to help keep the lungs open and whatnot. But they didn't recommend anything, of course, regular doctors for all the congestion and stuff. It was pretty bad. My son and my daughter both have it, and they're young. We have 4 and 6, and they got a bad respiratory where if you have little ones especially that are not good at clearing congestion, my daughter's horrible at blowing her nose. My son, on the other hand, dealt with this much better and doesn't have the same cough that she does because he can expel stuff a little bit easier. But if you can get your little one to drink tea, this is a big deal, okay? So it shortens the life of it. And to give you an idea, so I'm doing this one for our family right now, which is mullein, raspberry tea, and elderberry. And elderberry actually is pretty much what an antiviral would do. It slows down the replication of viruses, so that way you're not having to, your body's able to get ahead of it a little bit faster and not have it replicate as quick, right? And so the mullein fights the bacteria and viruses while also being an expectorant and a demulsifier. So it helps thin the mucus, okay? My daughter, I've never had something like this where she literally has tons of clear mucus that she's not getting rid of. She's not coughing. We do the neti pot though. With that, at least she's getting that, but it's draining right into her lungs. She ended up coughing / throwing up about a 1/4 cup of fluid that was in her lungs. I felt so bad. She was just not able to breathe well at all when laying down, especially at night. And she finally got it all out in one go, which was great. She still has a wet sounding cough, but it is so much better because I think mix of her inhaler stuff along with this, just making it thinner in order for it to get up, which is why this is such a big deal for people that get pneumonia, have COPD, have chronic lung issues. This is a great one. Now, I do recommend only using it if you're trying to get rid of something. Use it maybe consistently for about 2 weeks. not any longer, because the science on the details on how much is safe, they say short-term use. So about 2 weeks, that's what I use it for, and then we don't touch it again. Now, you can probably do smaller amounts for longer periods of time, but again, I would talk to someone that is trained more in this to make sure you're being safe. But you're totally fine to use it up to 2 weeks, and we will have like 2 to 3 cups a day. So we're not talking about small amounts, and even that's what's recommended online. So it's not anything I'm mentioning crazy here. So it's great for soothing, getting up stuff, lungs, protecting the mucous membranes. Another example to share with you is in early December, we got another chronic bag respiratory infection, and I started taking this because we knew we got it immediately from friends, right? So I knew what it was already. We immediately started on it. Within 3 to 4 days, our energy was completely back, and it was just like, it was already fighting the infection. It was just us, getting rid of it. We used it for about 2 weeks. None of us needed antibiotics. We were great. One of my family members, on the other hand, got it from us, and they didn't have anything like Mullein, and when they ordered it, it didn't come in on time, so he had to actually go get antibiotics for the infection, and still needed the Mullein to help clear out all that even afterwards. So the Mullein is huge. In fact, Mullein was a really big one that people were using, especially when COVID was high, because of the protective properties for the lungs. So if you are someone that's like, oh man, this even helps COVID, and this has been an issue in my family, or whether flus, or you're just really high risk for infections in your lungs, Mullein is a must-have in your house. I cannot say enough about it. The fact that we've been able to avoid antibiotics in the last couple months, because for us, it's not that we're against them, it's because it just causes so much other issues in our family. We get secondary issues with antibiotics. It clears out all the good gut flora. We're rebuilding it all over again, and it takes time. And we have digestion issues then. So if, it may not get rid of everything, but it's a huge big deal for people that have, that are like, I'm trying not to. Or for those of you who can't. My mom cannot take antibiotics because of her heart medication. So she needs medicinal stuff to be the alternative because she can't take other stuff. It just interacts. And the nice part is, and when you start seeing these videos, you're going to see, wait, she talked about this last video where this plant had an effect on this, and it also helped X, Y, and Z, but this other one did too. And the amazing thing is each plant will have a few really good strongholds on what they do, and they'll affect a lot more things though. They're not just going to help one thing. They're going to help a lot, but their focus on their, like what you could get the most benefits out of is the things I'm kind of mainly talking about. So this is really a big help for lungs specifically, but it does have other uses. People use it to treat gastric ulcers, inflammation in the stomach. You have IBS symptoms, liver, gallbladder. It's actually been shown in studies to help. And also with tooth issues, there's been a bunch of stuff, even musculoskeletal. So that's for like the salve, the topical ones, okay? So arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, knee pain, topical application has also been shown to show benefits, just like the nettle I talked about in a previous video. It's also helped with tonsillitis. Remember, anything with the throat, soothing, taking down inflammation, gout, migraines, herpes virus, burns, cellulitis. Topically, it also has healing properties in that. So the nice part about this is when you make a salve, you can use Mullein, use nettle, use comfrey, right? Use different ones to pull all those benefits into something that helps topically. An oregano. Oregano is amazing. I'm going to talk about that in another one. Probably a little bit more, but you can use it for so many things, all right? The one things to look out for is, of course, if you are nursing or pregnant, consult someone. I wouldn't even say in the doctor, someone that is a nurse practitioner that focuses in herbal medicine, but have someone like that on your team that you can talk to if you're like, I'm not sure. I am pregnant. Is this one okay? Certain ones they tell you already. They've done studies on it. This one, they're like, I'm not sure. So just be aware of the effects. It's also can have diuretic effects. So if you're already on medication that has that effect, also be aware that it can do that. And it can make diabetic drugs less effective. So if you're a type 2, I say type 2 because my son's a type 1, and it does not affect insulin whatsoever. Now it can affect oral drugs, maybe Ozempic, different ones that you're taking orally. So just be aware that there are possible side effects with that. Also probably depends on how much you're taking. If you're taking a tea once a day for something to just get ahead of or productive, I don't think it will be enough. But again, I use the disclaimer. Also, let's see. Yeah. I mean, that is the basics. I just want you guys to get an idea of how this can be useful in your family. Oh yeah, it can be used for ear infections too. So Otonic Otic Solutions is a company that makes something for the ears, but it's not just Mullein. They also use garlic, calendula, and St. John's wort. But that is an option for ear infections for your kids. So sometimes it's not just one, it's a combination of different teas or different topical ones. And when you find ones that work, you don't have to keep buying them. Just start making them yourselves. I will link the raspberry leaf tea and the mullein that I used to make my tea today in. Of course, you can buy any one you want. I don't have an affiliation with these. This is just the ones I get that I have the most bang for my buck and that I think are safe to use. So I'll put that link in the description in case you're interested in ordering your own mullein. But yeah, that's another one of our favorite. I hope this is really helpful for you guys. If you have any comments on things you'd like to hear about or something you're like, I've heard someone mention this, but I don't know a lot about it, please comment. I would love to make that video to be helpful for anyone that might need it. But yeah, let's keep it simple and enjoy the rest of your day.